Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second round of the GPU European Formula 3 Championship of 2021. It's a pleasure to be back in the commentary booth after a long time away. I'm David Carter. Next to me, you'll know his voice from last week, is Ewan Gale, and it was a cracking first round of the championship at Imola, and I'm expecting more of the same tonight, Ewan.
Yeah, nice of you to turn up, David. It's good to have you back, and really excited. We had some fantastic racing in Imola, as you said, and I'm sure we'll get even more this time round. Okay, middle sector might be a bit of a problem with dirty air, but we know the first sector, the long straights, the heavy braking zones usually lend themselves well to some good racing action, and hopefully it'll be no different tonight.
Yeah, safe. We're round, as you can probably tell, the Red Bull Ring here this evening for round number 2 of this championship. I just started qualifying now as we're just looking at the THR there of Chris Butcher, who was fastest in official practice. He's now just behind, it looks like. Can't quite tell what car that is there, but we have to say Butcher's going to start his first qualifying lap, as a few of the drivers are. A few new faces in for tonight and a few penalties to go over as well. But it's going to be quite an interesting spectacle here at Red Bull Ring here this evening. A lot of close lap times here, and Ewan, obviously Butcher's just starting a lap. Let's take us round for a lap here in this Formula 3 car.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be full chat all the way down the straight. You've got to pick your braking zone using the markers on the left hand side. Use plenty of the curb on the way in and plenty of the curb on the way out. Don't lose the track limit. So then it's another long blast officially through turn 2. Not really a corner though, as you wind your way up the steering hill into the second heavy braking zone of the lap, then into turn 3. Great overtaking opportunity when you come to the race. Butcher really nice and pinned to the apex there. Then we got another long blast of full throttle, but this time going down the hill, a bit of extra speed as we come down into turn 4. Braking zone critical as you hit the downhill apex. The car will try and swing away from you, but he's really handled it nicely. I think he's actually backing out of this lap with a few cars ahead. It didn't look incredibly fast out of turn 4. Big slide into turn 5 and 6, and now through turn 7. Use plenty of road on the right hand side. You sort of want to compromise a little bit through the left hander because you really want to pick the traction up and get going out of the right hander. Turn 9 and 10, so difficult. You've got to carry all of the speed without going wide and losing your lap time. Right over the curb left, and there you go, he goes wide. That'll hurt him. And then the final corner, again, just really picking that apex on the inside before blasting back across the line.
There he goes for a lap there. Obviously that would be a track extension for Butcher, but a pretty decent lap nevertheless. Actually, Daniel Brewer here for Stacks, topping the timesheets early on here on a 22.596. Behind him is, for some of you, will be a name that you're not familiar with, but I remember watching him many years ago. Toby Davis, the THR co-owner, of course, stepping in for Luke Maguire, who has to take COVID precautions, so he can't race this evening. But Toby there, definitely a bit rusty, but he's done a lot of laps here of practice to get himself back up to speed. Then it's Morris Coppin for Butcher 4th, Leho in 5th place, Kai Sunnefout 6th, Langerak in 7th, as I just see Riboli going up the timesheets there. Here's Sven Gerrit here. He's just going to come across the line here and go to P3. He's been looking really, really sharp in this first round at Imola and here this evening already as well. As Liam Howard there, who's just jumped into the server. He's going in P22. But I say, still a long way to go in this qualifier. 10 minutes here to go. Pretty much everyone has set a lap time now. As Tom Stevens said, sets 2 purple sectors. He sets provisional pole position of 22.205. That is getting very close to actually the personal best time of any session so far this weekend.
Yeah, championship leader, of course, after a stellar round 1, led practice in round 1 in Imola, led qualifying and then won race 1, and he was absolutely full chat, all sorts of sideways through the final corner on his lap. But that's a pretty formidable lap time there, 4/10 up on Daniel Brewer already. But the stacks looked good in Imola as well, as much as THR and Nocturne looked the best team. Stacks were right up there, and if it wasn't for a few issues in race 1, they could have had 2 strong results. As it so happened, a double podium in race 2, and oh so close to a Lewis Bickers victory in that second race, just losing out on the line.
You got to say that Stacks at THR and Nocturne was very, very strong in the first round of the championship. Those 3 really took the large majority of the points. Peter Vagapov for Valley Esports got the second round victory, as you may remember, but a lot of teams failing to score. It's that 7 teams failing to score in the first round of the championship. Team Year 1 being one of them, as we're on board with Anastopoulos now. They'll be looking to get off the mark here this evening.
Yeah, and a lot of those teams, as you mentioned, weren't scoring. There's a few incidents back in the pack where, just on a narrow track like Imola, one person has an issue, maybe a spin, and everyone gets caught up in that. So, plenty of people will be aiming to score their first points of the year. A few driver changes due to illness, and we'll have a few grid penalties later, as you mentioned at the start of the broadcast as well. So as we ride with Anastasopoulos through the middle sector, and it actually didn't look too bad all in all. But yeah, even looking at the top 10 now, you saw Raboli go nice and high. He had a bit of a disaster in race 2, having started up the top. So plenty of people actually didn't score that probably deserved to on raw pace. They just couldn't hook the race up together, so I'm sure we'll see a bit more of a mix tonight.
Yeah, obviously I'm looking at the standings now. You got the likes of like Sheldon Muscat, for example. Alex Hallows is down there without any points. Guillaume Branton as well. He's always had a bit of pace and a bit of speed on. He had a rough first round as well. So some names there, and some new names coming into the series as well. Menno Klonk, the former champion, or the current champion of the series, taking part here as well this evening. We're on board now with Dan Brewer going into turn number 4, hooking up quite nicely actually for Stacks Racing. Him and Lewis Bickers, we've been watching a little bit of testing actually, and they've looked really strong as a pair all through the testing. As I said, the car not handling too well over the bumps there, but getting pretty good speed nevertheless, running a little bit wide, turning in there, but looking pretty strong. Nevertheless, Dan Brewer in P2, 4 tenths though behind Tom Stevens. So that's a big old chunk of time to find around a pretty quick lap time like this. But still, 7.5 minutes to go, halfway through the session in qualifying.
Yeah, it's an important qualifying session for Dan Brewer as well. One of the drivers with a grid penalty, 3 places for him due to an indiscretion in round 1. But what we saw in Imola is Moritz Kropko's P2 look on the timesheets, still about 2.5 tenths down on Tom Stevens' teammate. But what we saw in Imola is that they were doing 5 or 6 lap times, and they were just getting faster and faster as they wound up. So as you mentioned, just under 7 minutes left, plenty of time for that time tower to change.
I say a couple of names I'd expect to go up the leaderboard a little bit. Vagapov down in P16. Also Alexander Ragotza I see down in P23. Then a couple of names you expect to see move up into the top 10 possibly by the end of the session, as Sven Gerrit crosses the line, doesn't improve, stays in P number 7. Actually looked pretty good for Masumba in the first round, of course. Here's Lewis Bickers now for Stacks. He set a couple of personal bests as he goes through the final corner, really taking in a lot of speed, sliding on the curb on the exit there as well. But here he comes across the line. He got Slipstream as well. He stays in 5th, just ahead of Toby Davis.
Yeah, he lost time in that final sector with the slide, didn't he? So that's a shame for Lewis Bickers. He was quick in Imola, and he had a bit of it. I think he ran wide at Ravazza early on in race 1. That really hindered his progress in the first race, but as we said, fought back through and almost nicked the win on the line from Vagapov, who just about held on by the smallest of margins.
Just notice that Chris Butcher has just moved up to visual P2, putting Tom Stevens under a little bit of pressure there, a little bit of a sweat on there. Only 0.03 of a second slower than Stevens, who are on board now with Vries. Sonovout now, is he going to come across the line? Personal best sector 1. This might move him up a couple of places, and he does it up to 10th position there, ahead of Valestra there as well. Here's Gale Branton as well, also on a personal best in sector 2. Really good effort from Branton there to be in P5. And I say he's almost been really quick on the one lap as Ewan Branton on the controller. These days he's still on the controller. He's sort of chopped and changed from controller to wheel. He seems to have always been really happy with the controller as Gale there moves up into P5 as well. But, he's looking pretty good here. Is Branton after his unfortunate round 1 in Imola. Let's just see now Butcher coming into the pits there. Just under 5 minutes to go in qualifying, and traffic might be a big thing in the later stages here. There is a rule in place in the driver briefing where you can't slow down through these penultimate 2 corners as soon as you sort of reach that back straight. Just sort of go for it from there. So traffic should be a bit less of an issue than it was last time out. That's still a bit tight around the circuit. It's Gitsoff now on 2 personal bests. From 10th to 9th he goes, ahead of Massimiliano Riboli. He goes there for the Sim Apex team there as well. Again, another team looking to get their first points of the season.
But just having a look at some of the drivers that are further down the order, I'm really surprised by Peter Vagapov down in P20 at the moment. But Alex Leo, number 18, with Team Iris, and also his teammate Luc Meunier, only 24th. They had really good speed in them. Got in a few incidents in the race, but their speed was good. They were threatening for points. So surprising to see they are so far down. Some drivers like Gale Hoyd in P5 coming into the pits ready for their final attempts.
So they'll come in, put a new set of tyres on, and go out on track as well. You might have just seen as well there with Tom Stevens. You might have noticed some of your eagle-eye viewers might notice the new livery on the Nocturne car designed by Toby Davids as well. It's a nice improvement, shall we say. It's a really free, colourful, artistic design, which Tom Ely also was a part of making that livery as well. And it's a really vibrant, unique looking design, which is great to see. The creativity from all of the team owners and designers in GPU and across sim racing as well. As Butcher's now going on another attempt. He's just about to start his lap, going up to turn 1 once again, and it's such a crucial corner. Obviously it makes or breaks your lap pretty much straight away, but getting the speed out of there is really, really key. Out of turn 1 as he rockets up the hill. As I just see yellow flag in sector 2 there. I'm just going to also keep an eye to see if anyone else is on any personal bests. Let's see, Vagapov's done a green sector 2 actually there as well. He's currently in P20. It looks like he may be on the march as well. But Butcher now running towards turn 4. Vagapov, there he is, up to P10. Brilliant effort there from him, and a much needed effort, and he needs some momentum after that race 2 victory last time out. As we see, looking down there as well, Menno Klont in P21, the reigning champion of this series. I believe this is just a one-off drive he's doing at the moment for the Butler Powell Motorsport team. But I don't think he's done too much practice, in fairness. It's very much a last minute thing, so we might see him go quicker as qualifying goes on, but there's less than 2 minutes to go now. Butcher is not improving this time round, but I think he's going to give it one more run. Goes across the line there, but that's not going to be an improvement for the Englishman.
No, as neat as you like though, if he can get the pace from run 1 and the neatness from run 2, he'll probably give Tom a bit of a run for his money for pole. Obviously they're so close with their times, less than a tenth of course, and here is Tom Stevens on board with him now into turn 4, just swings the car in slightly wide, a little bit of understeer I fancy, as we run down the hill through turn 5 and then flick left into turn 6. It's pretty blind as you turn in. Aim for the curb on the inside, aim for the curb on the outside, really using the curbs to guide your car. Beautifully stable on turning through 7 and 8, and now it's all about just building your speed and picking your apex point for turn 9. Don't scrub too much speed by sliding. That's what we've seen them all do so far. Let's see how he hooks it up into the final corner. Plenty of curb, probably lost a little bit of time actually. Let's see how good the rest of the lap was to help him. Cross the line he goes. Yeah, he did. He lost time in the final sector, but his middle sector was just too good, and he picks up a little bit of extra time. Still not a massive chunk though. I think he'll be a little bit annoyed that he took so much curb at the final corner, but that is just how much they're pushing. Butcher next round at the final corner.
Butcher's round final corner, so Brewer's gone up to P3 and Singleton's gone up to P6 as well. Great effort from him. And Brewer's now up to second. He's split Stevens and Butcher there, and he's now onto provisionally the front row of the grid as the checkered flag is now out. I see Sven Galehood's on a lap. He's done a green sector 1 as well. He's currently in P5.
I think he's just gone off at turn 4.
That's it. That's
I think he's gone wide.
He's going to be his qualifying ruined there. Meunier's gone up to 14th position, I can see. Sonneveld is on a green sector 2. He's currently in P15. We're watching Luca Tizzano now. He has a bit of a scruffy final corner. He's going to come across the line. It's going to be an improvement. Can he get the head of likes of Vella and Griswood? Here he comes. And no, he does not improve at all there. And it looks like, I think that's everyone pretty much. Then I'll actually, Brewer is still on the lap. He just got ahead of the start line before the check flag. He's actually got a little bit of a slipstream now. Who's that ahead of him? I can't quite work it out from what I'm looking at here, but he's going to go through. Oh, he's got a spinner ahead. Oh, he's going to be contact. There's contact there. That's going to ruin his qualifying. That really unfortunate there for Brewer. Can't quite work out who that was. He spun there at second to last corner, but he's going to recover back onto the track. Butcher's going to come across the line. He gets P2 after a purple sector 3. Look at that, half a tenth covering the top 3. And he got Crop, Bickers, Galehood, Singleton, Gitsoff, Branton and Leho rounding up the top 10, which was a really, really intense and interesting session. As I've just noticed, Adrian Diego's just joined the server for Beyond Esports. But Ewan, that was a really, really topsy-turvy qualifying there. But Stevens keeping up his run of pole positions.
It sounds a little bit silly to say with such a close time, but the way that Stevens just kept eking the lap times out, it sort of never felt in doubt. And then all of a sudden, Butcher and Brewer were biting at his heels, trying to steal that pole position away. So Stevens will be happy. The other two have got plenty of time. Brewer, though, losing that place at the end. He'll start from P6, I believe, for the race with his 3-place grid penalty. Just looking further down the grid as well. Shout out to Stan Vletstra for Frechenera. They were at the back in Imola. They were on the back row and struggled for pace. So really good to see some competitive pace in Luca Tizzano in that team as well.
I'm just going to run through all the grid drops. Anastas Sapoulos has got a 5-place grid drop. Alex Hallow's 10-place grid drop. Obviously, Dan Brewer's got the 3-place grid drop as well. And Leho's got a 30-place grid drop. So all that good work being 10th, he's going to be all the way down to the back of the grid now. But his pace, if he can maintain that pace in qualifying, carry it over to the race, he may be in line for potentially a reverse grid pole if there's going to be some action incidents ahead of him. But say Tom Stevens there with the pole position for Nocturne, looking to extend his championship lead after the first round. Obviously, Luke Maguire's not here to challenge him at all, so you could say he's got a 10-point gap to Dan Brewer and Chris Butcher as well. But that has been qualifying. I assume we're just going to take a few minutes break and refresh ourselves, ready for the race. So we'll be back in a few minutes' time. Hello everybody, I hope you have all had a nice rest and break from qualifying. I'll say they're just going their final preparations now for the warm-up. I've seen a few more of you have joined the broadcast as well. I appreciate everyone joining in and watch this evening's entertainment with myself, Ewan, Gale, Gerrit, Vries on cameras as well. I say minute and 20 to go. I say championship standings from round one have all been confirmed, and here they are here. So Tom Stevens on 30 points there. Luke McGuire not here today, he's on 21. Brewer 20. Tyler Butcher. That'd be interesting to see how them two sort themselves out. Crop on 18. Bickers 15. Vagapov after his race victory in Imola got himself into 7th on 15 as well, and then got Gerhard Riboli and Liam Howard. I say then we got the teams championship as well, and hopefully with some magic that will come up on the screen. Maybe not. No magic today, guys, but I'll read it for them anyway.
It's even all magic for Christmas, are we?
Yeah, that's very true actually, and maybe a bit more money as well. Maybe we'll get a bit we'll fund the team standings then, hopefully. But Nocturne on 48 points, THR 41, Stacks on 36. There's a bit of a gap to Valley on 21, Mazumda on 13, and Beyond on 5 points there. So plenty of teams looking to get themselves on the board. As I said earlier, it looks like they've restarted warm-up as well, so there might have been an issue with making the grid or moving servers anyway. But Ewan, I'll say, what's your expectations of tonight? Is there any sort of predictions? Maybe someone coming from the back of the field to maybe take reverse grid, for example, or do you see yourself winning this race?
Well, I think it'll be between the top three really for race one, and I think what you'll see is with the reverse grid that we have for race two, there'll be drivers wanting to place themselves. You know, if they're in the points in that top 12, obviously top 10 score points, but top 12 get reversed. So if you're in that sort of 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th sort of region, you're not going to take too many risks, I don't think, because you'll then get nicely positioned for race 2. If you're further down though, P13, 14, 15, you're going to take a bit more risk, and I think that's where we'll see all of the action in race 1. Obviously then, flip side, race 2, everyone will be at it because that's the last chance to score points. On the other hand, though, you know, the guys up the top saying that they won't take risks. Obviously, there's more points on offer in race 1, and there's a bigger gap between first and second, for example. It's exactly like you see in Formula 1 in real life, 25 points for first, 18 for second. That 7 points can make a big difference. So it's really down to driver mentality, really. And I think the key thing here is if you do get forced out wide at turn 1, turn 3, if you're in a battle, you've got to keep your head and don't do anything rash, because you know you make a mistake in race 1, that can be your whole night over.
That's very true indeed. I'll say 16 laps the 2 races tonight as well. So plenty of action ahead. One thing I will mention, actually, I've actually done some laps, or shall I say some slow laps in this car, and the one thing Well, I might catch a slipstream off the last car on the grid, shall we say, for a couple of laps and then fall away and get lapped a couple of times. But the slipstream you get off these cars is pretty strong. So expect to run up towards turn 3, for example, turn 4 as well. People maybe sort of half a second behind going at the beginning of a straight. Expect them to be challenging for position into those corners on a regular basis as well. As I say, warm-up is just starting. Again, lap time's coming back in 5 minutes to go of the session. But yeah, there's going to be plenty of action with this slipstream. A few of the drivers I've spoken to as well before the event, and they said dirty air is a really big thing. So I expect when it comes to race 2, whoever's on the sort of front row of the grid, they may find that the guys behind trying to get themselves through the field might have a very difficult time getting past, particularly obviously Sector 2 and Sector 3 as well. It's going to be all the overtaking action is going to be in that Sector 1 and start Sector 2.
And that's going to add to the craziness as well if you think about it, because the drivers will know that if they want to get the move done, they've got to get it done into turns 1, turns 3 and turns 4, because otherwise they're going to lose that time and perhaps be put in danger of losing their position to a car behind. So that all adds to the tension. What's really fascinating is that if you look at the two circuits we've had to start the season, they're both very similar in terms of speed and average speed, yet they're both very different circuits. You know, the really heavy braking zones here, into turn 1, turn 1, turn 3 and turn 4, whereas Imola, you know, very medium speed corners really all the way through. The heaviest braking zone really is into the chicane at the top of the hill. So yeah, interesting to see which drivers have been able to carry that form through the two circuits. You know, like I said, they're similar, but they're very different at the same time. And I think that's where we've seen a bit of a mix-up from sort of 12th downwards on the grid. I mentioned Freccianera. Maybe their car just works a little bit the way they set that up for this circuit compared to Imola. And that's where the technical side of sim racing really comes in then. If we look throughout the season, see which teams can carry the form over all the different types of track and not just have one really good weekend.
I guess we'll find out in this event, but say qualifying was definitely a bit more mixed in the midfield and tail end of the grid. Of course, after tonight as well, we're off to Catalonia in 2 weeks' time on January the 3rd. So another sort of high-speed corner, dirty air type of track, shall we say? You know, so that's going to be a similar test, but again different as well. And then obviously after Catalonia, we're off to Mugello, then Zandvoort, and then two very different tests. So obviously got Norris Ring being the last round of the championship, and then we got a special event on the 28th of February at Macau, which is something I've never raced at and probably don't want to be honest myself, because that would be very spicy. But from an entertainment point of view, that'd be amazing to see Formula 3 at Macau. So we got quite a few rounds of action running till, as I say, the end of February. So that's what, 6 more rounds to go.
And all of them are exciting circuits, and they're hearty circuits. You know, mistakes really cost you.
Oh, massively.
It really sorts, you know, the best drivers out from the good drivers, because there are no bad drivers. Unless I start racing.
Well, I was going to say that the bad drivers end up commentating.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I've had like 2 goes and decided, you know what, it's not my thing. I'll let the experts do it. So, yeah, no, as you said, Macau as well, something to really look forward to at the end of the season, the special event. The home of F3, really.
It is. You think of all the years that F3's gone to, like the likes of Zandvoort, Norris Ring, Macau. It's always been exciting racing. Now I think we're going to recreate some of that in the near future. We've got a minute of warm-up to go here, of course. I think they're just sorting the grids out now. Practice starts being done on the start grid, I can tell as well. But I say we've got a full grid again of drivers. What we got, 29 drivers, only 1 car missing from this grid. It's great to see that these early rounds of the championship, you've got 15 teams, pretty much 4 grids as well. I think one team might be missing. I think it's Sim Apex might be missing a driver. No, it's not them, because I see got 2 drivers already. One of them's missing anyway, but we won't be able to work out who it is. But maybe you guys in chat will. But it's going to be very, very close, very exciting in the opening laps here this evening. Obviously, our big thanks to Sadler Computers as well for giving us the server here to this evening as well. And of course, 3D Wrap, there's prizes for the drivers, the top 5 drivers in the championship. They get discount codes with 3D Wrap, and the top team in the championship will also get discount code from 3D Wrap as well. And they've got some, I must say, I've looked on their website a few times before, sort of getting tempted here and there. Do I have a look? Do I have a buy? Look at them and think it's a bit pricey myself, but they are quality products. And I said discount code, depending on what you buy, will make a big saving, a big difference to someone who's maybe looking to improve their sim racing experience. As well as warm-up has now finished. Hopefully we can get the grid sorted out. Hopefully we can get rack racing here this evening.
We are missing, by the way, I've figured it out. It's a Beyond. It's Adrian Diego, who isn't with us tonight.
That's the one. Maybe it's one step too much for him to.
Oh no! Oh, that's a madness. That is.
Oh, come on! It's been a long time. Give me a break.
Hey, we're in the Christmas spirit. We're having fun, and I'm sure these drivers can have fun as well when we get underway for race 1.
Yeah, well, I hope they do, and I hope there's no fisticuffs or any misdemeanors on track. But no, in these types of series in R-Factor 2, you expect 1 or 2 incidents here and there. But fingers crossed, it won't get too much or too violent. But we'll be definitely calling out the action wherever we can see it here this evening, as we're just waiting for this grid to be formed up. Obviously, Tom Stevens will be preparing himself a bit more than he was last time out, where he stalled on the grid on the first start. It was confirmed. But he told me now he's sorted all those issues out and shouldn't have that problem again. But never say never for any driver, you know.
The main thing is that he got it sorted for the restart, and then went and got the win quite easily as well in the end. So, but as you said, don't want a repeat of that, please. A nice clean getaway first time will be beautiful for us tonight.
Well, hopefully we'll see in a few minutes' time. So now into the race session now. It'll be about next 30 to 45 seconds. We'll be seeing the cars on the grid for the formation lap as well. You see the crowd getting really excited here in the grandstand, watching on at the Red Bull Ring. All got very smiley, happy faces on them, as we're actually just looking at Toby Davis there, lining up on the grid in his first single-seater race in, it must be, and this is just a prediction here, about 6 or 7 years it is for him. He's done a bit of touring cars in the background. That's where he made his sim racing career at Touring Pro Series back in the day. Did a bit of single-seaters here and there. I think it was FSR, I think he did a little bit as well, actually, here and there. But it's been a long time for him, so we wish him well. He's going to be starting 10th on the grid alongside Ewan now. But it looks like now they're away for their formation lap as Tom Stevens leads them round to make it 2 pole positions out of 2. He's going to be alongside his THR compatriot Chris Butcher with his own teammate Moritz Kropp alongside him in P3 on the grid. Then Lewis Bickers, Sven Gale and Daniel Brewer there. Stacks, Mazuma Stacks, Kenny Singleton. Chris gets off alongside him. Then we got Guillaume Branton on row 5 with Toby Davis there, rounding at the top 10. Peter Vagapov in P11 with Massimiliano Riboli in P12. Loic Meunier in 13th for Sonoval in 14th. Stan Valestra 15th for Scuderia Frekia. Nero with Dean Vella in 16th positions. We got Bradley Vellers in 7th. Bradley Sellers, in 17th for Chris Griswood on row 9. Luca Tosano with Jurgen Yangarak Round number 10, the reigning champion Menno Clont for Butler Power Motorsport 21st, Sheldon Muscat for GT Omega 22nd, Alexander Ragotza and Tyler Manning ran at row number 12. Ryan Mizuna, the team boss of Mizuma Motorsport 25th, Liam Howard 26th, Nikos Anastopoulos 27th, Alex Hallows in 28th. And then we got Alex Leho with his 30th place grid penalty, rounding out the 29 car grid. And as you pointed out, Adrian Diego missing the start. He's actually in Discord, I can see. Is Adrian Diego? He must be having some form of R Factor 2 issue, but he couldn't make the grid, sadly, for the first race. We just hope to see, hopefully, he makes an appearance for race number 2 and get that problem sorted of some kind. Ewan, but as they go around the final corner now, heartbeats will be rising ever so slightly.
Yeah, it all comes down to that one moment of focus. You watch the lights, you try and get everything hooked up. Like you said, we had a few stalls last time, and just reaction time is the key here. And then focusing on not getting any wheel spin, getting your traction perfect, and flying up the hill. The fact that there's a slight incline will not help with the getaway. And it's just pick your line and into turn 1. Make sure you've got your awareness around you to see who is coming up your inside or your outside.
Well, fingers crossed. I think it's a very, very tight turn 1 here, as they're now pretty much lined up on the grid, and away they go. And Tom Stevens there gets a pretty decent start. Butcher tucks in right behind the Nocturne driver into turn number 1. As Crofts got sideways there. Is that a spin? Is that a spin there? It looks like Carnage. Carnage going into turn 1. They all sort of avoid him. Yeah, there's a couple off there as well. Looks like a Mazunda car has gone off there. But alongside each other there, Stevens and Butcher going into turn number 3. For the first time, Stevens defends nicely there. Butcher tries to get the cutback straight away here. Side by side as go towards turn number 4. As we get a good look at that Nocturne livery. Is Butcher going to dive down inside? He's got the overlap for sure. Stevens gives him room. Still side by side. This is a brilliant start from these two. Further back, they got the gap already as well to Brewer and Bickers. Where has Crop gone? Crop's down to 8th. He obviously caught the slide in the opening lap, but Stevens still leads. They're all filing through as well. Yellow flag in sector 2 somewhere, so someone's gone off. It looks like Sonneveld. And Menno Clont is retired from the race as well, early days. But Stevens still holds to Butcher, and they've got a 2-second gap already to Dan Brewer and Lewis Bickers. So stacks 3-4 as Sonneveld's got a missing front and rear wing. There's a car behind as well with damage as well. Looks like Chris Gitzoff has got that. But lap 1 completed, a very, very mad first lap.
All sorts of things must have happened, because Luca Tizzano and Ryan Mazunda were the guys who went off at T1, and then all of a sudden they were overtaking people as well. So I don't know what happened between Clont, Gristwood also into the pits, I think, as we saw Sonneveld dropping down as well, Vela in the pits, Anastasopoulos in the pits, Tizzano, as I said, also involved in the pits. Sonneveld and Gitzoff will come in as well. Mazunda managed to carry on though, so he might have got away without damage, but plenty of people in strife on lap 1, and incredibly Stevens and Butcher, even though they were side by side pretty much the whole way around, whatever happened for Moritz Kropp at turn 1 has allowed them to get about a 2.5 second lead over Dan Brewer in third, who's already made up for his grid penalty. Just having a look at Lewis Bickers following Sven Geelhoyd through the middle sector, and actually we were saying about the dirty air earlier, but that looks pretty nice to follow, David.
That wasn't too bad, was it? Another man who suffered at the start was Kenneth Singleton as well. He's down in 22nd position after starting well inside the top 10. Let's say it's come across lines of wide Geelhoyd there. He runs completely off the track, but recovers it nicely. As I'm having a couple of connection issues here, I must admit, but I seem to be back now, all working absolutely fine.
Dick is way out of shape through turn 1, big slide, trying to follow Geelhoyd up the hill.
Then this is where I think he's a bit too far back to gain any slipstream. It looks like he's defending as well. Is that Peter Vagapov alongside? Yes, he is. But Bickers get a great drive out of the corner to maintain that P5 for now. But Vagapov there for a really good start. Toby Davis I can see moving up there, up into 9th position ahead of Stan Valestra as well. And I think Alex Hallows is making a position up there into P18 ahead of Manning there. But Toby there being attacked on the outside by Valestra, holds on to that position. We've also got, is that Guillaume Branton? Branton's in the war! Oh, Guillaume Branton in the war, but he survived the impact on the wall, kept his front wing, but lost a couple of positions as well. As you can see, the inputs he has to put in on his controller there. He's now lost position behind. Is that Riboli and Leho there? Leho's there, look at that, from 29th on the grid up to 12. What an amazing start. That's exactly what we thought. Yeah, he's missed everything. What an incredible start there from the Frenchman.
Yeah, and we saw that they looked fast, Team Iris, in round 1. I was a bit surprised by their pace in qualifying until Leo went, I think 10th he did with his actual time. So, good start for him. Moynier up in P7 as well. Vletstra really impressive from where he was up to P10 as well for Freccianera. Struggled in round 1, having a really good time of it now. Looked like Branton just got into the back of Vletstra though as they came out the corner, as Krop has a look down the inside of Moynier.
They're going to be side by side going into turn 4 here. Krop's got the slight overspeed on the car as we see the Team Iris car there just pulling about half a car length or so ahead of Krop as they go into the corner. Krop diving in deep, contact was made there, wheel banging there, but Krop makes position up into P7 now. Vagapov is going to be his next target, about a second or so up the road. But look at this great battle here for 10th. This is going to run on and on, I feel. Riboli holding on to the front of this train. I can see a yellow flag in sector 1 again. Someone's gone off the circuit somewhere. But this is a battle between Riboli, Valestra, Leho, Branton, and I think Bradley Sellers is also going to be tagging along this battle in the slipstream as to go into the penultimate corner once again, taking in a lot of speed. And I'll say that is Branton running off slightly wide in the process, but they come across slightly. Get Riboli trying to break the toe, but look at the speed here from Leho. He's got plenty of speed in that car. Trying to pull out, can't do nothing with it. Valestra breaks deep. He almost hits the back of Riboli, but gets decent speed out. Leho and Branton closing up on these guys. This is going to be pretty mad into turn 3, I feel. Here you go.
Yeah, and what they've got to do is they've got to set the pass up, because Vletstra went deep into turn 1 and didn't have the run he needed. Branton again into the back of the Freccianera and gets away with it again. Couldn't get past Leo. But yeah, it's all about setting the move up. You've got to start thinking a bit clever now. You can't just be going deep into the corner. You need to get the traction out and get a nice run.
And we totally missed it off camera, but Butcher's in the lead. He's ahead of Tom Stevens. Now Stevens was about 1 second ahead of Butcher at one point, so that's maybe a mistake somewhere, but Butcher is now leading this race. But those two are going to be at it pretty hard, I feel. They've just got to keep an eye themselves. They've got to keep an eye on Brewer behind, because they're about 2 seconds off the battle. But there's Valestra down in 19th place now, so something's happened to him in that battling for 10th place.
Must have been a turn 4, because they all got through turn 3 alright. Looking at Butcher as well, he was 4/10 faster than Stevens through the first sector, so he must have had a beautiful dose of slipstream as the Team Iris goes wide of Leho at the final corner. Branton couldn't capitalise, and all of a sudden Massimiliano Riboli, who looked as if he was struggling for pace with everyone queuing up behind him, now has a bit of breathing room to just take stock of where he is and get into a bit of a rhythm. That's going to put Leho in trouble, and Bradley Sellers all of a sudden P13 and keeping his nose clean at the moment.
Also bypassing Stevens as well. Chris Butcher's.
Oh, look how close that is. Bit of contact as well.
Oh yes, there we go. And Rigoza there getting the underneath Sheldon Muscat there, as they're now nose to tail. Go up to 4. Look at that Muscat trying to get the slipstream, pulling out to the left hand side of the track, trying to pass the Gallery 82 car of Alexander Rigoza, who has improved a lot over the past 12 months or so, I feel, particularly his racecraft. He's getting better and better all the time, and he's made some moves up in this race already. So great stuff. I'll say retirement stage. You can see Chris Gitzoff, Sonneveld and Klont, all retirements from this first race. as well as the gap up in front is now 0.7 of a second. But so we run through the top 10. So Butcher, Stevens, then Brewer, Gale, Bickers, Vagapov, Krop, Meunier, Toby Davis, and Massimiliano Riboli rounding up the top 10. As now we're watching Leho's on the grass. That's dangerous. They could have so easily lost it and hit the barrier, but he just got the throttle in time, as he's now got to defend or hold position here from Guillaume Branton as he gets away with it.
And now he's in trouble all the way up the hill. Branson will have a lovely bit of slipstream up into turn 3, and this is really where Leho should have been in trouble, but he managed to get a nice drive actually through turn 1, and Branson never looked like challenging, so very interesting to see that. Maybe Leho has just got a little bit better with a rear end under traction, and because again he pulls away out of turn 3 as well, so nice for Leho, and now he's going to pick the slipstream back up from Riboli in the valley just ahead of him.
He's running lower wings as well, because he's not being closed down the straights at all, and I've noticed that a few laps ago as well, so I think he's running slightly lower wing than some of his competitors as well.
No, I'd agree with that, you're right.
So we're looking at there in P14, the Gallery 2 car is now closing up as well, and I'm not sure if something up the broadcast is a little bit changing sides for me. I'm not sure if that's running okay for you viewers on the broadcast, but yeah, there we go. We've completed another lap here, so we're nearly halfway through this race already. What's this, lap 6 of 16, isn't it? Let me just double check on my side. Sorry, lap 8 of 14. Actually, it's 14 lap race. I'm sure it was 16 laps this race was supposed to be.
14 laps. But it is fast and furious though, David. It's absolutely, because what they're doing, as you can see, as Branson goes defensive with Sellers behind and Regatta lurking as well, is you haven't got time to think. You're constantly on the defensive if you've got a car behind you. It's just straight after straight after straight. Regatta's going to have a look surely down the inside. How defensive do Sellers go? The problem is Branson's going to defend that inside now as well. Sellers going to have to go all the way around the outside, and Regatta makes it the move stick. And now he's going to have a go at Branton as well. Branton goes really defensive into turn 5. So close between all 3 drivers, and they've done so well to keep that clean between the 3 of them.
He did, and Regatta got a great drive out of 4, and that's why Branton was so quick in defending the position there, so Regatta didn't get a run on the inside as well. At the front of the field, I can see Butcher and Stevens, the gap's still around that same mark, but Dan Brewer is catching up to the pair of them at front. Gap between the 3 for now, just 1.5 seconds. They've broken away from Gerrit, Bickers, Vakapov, and they're in their own freeway tussle as well at the front of the 4th, 5th and 6th. So really good stuff and clean stuff between them, but battles all over the field in this first race, which is great to see. Oh, and contact there, Yangarak there, running wide out of turn 1. I think a little bit of contact may have occurred.
Yeah, Jurgen was trying to go around the outside, and it was just one of those where he had to start turning in at one point, but there was a car there, a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, nothing hurting them at all. I think Davis might have just gone past Morris Croft for P8.
That's correct.
So that's the THR past the Nocturne, a bit of bragging rights. Leho up past Riboli as well. We missed that, so Leho up into the top 10 and gonna potentially, if he stays there, score a point, having started completely last after a 30-place grid penalty. Actually, here they are side by side, still Riboli running outside into turn 6, but the Team Irish stays ahead. Now Riboli's going to have that crucial slipstream though, so let's see how good that Team Irish is in a straight line, and whether it was just wing specific against Branson earlier.
We'll find out. We'll find out probably next time around, as we're in lap number 10 of this particular race here, as Riboli there getting a little bit wide on the exit, taking a slightly wrong line, but look at Leho already trying to break the toe, holding the middle of the track as they cross the line to start another lap. Let's go deep. It's very easy actually, if you hit that curb wrong, as I think Leho's just done, you can brake, lose all front end braking and go straight on at turn 1 if you clip that curb wrong into turn 1, and here of course if you decide to run on the curb here, just go straight on and understeer off the circuit. They both get round okay that time, and it looks like they're holding the gap nicely here, about half a second distance.
Yeah, of course, and as you mentioned with the curbs, the longer you're going sideways, the less time you have to go forwards, and that is crucial with the big lock-up. Goes Roboli into turn 4 is crucial when you've got such a long straight, and that's what really did for Roboli there. Langerak for Epic trying to get into the top 15. Remember, the guys squabbling behind Alexander Ragozza will be aiming for reverse grid pole. Ragozza holds that at the moment for Gary 82.
Yes, that'd be fantastic. And Ragozza in another series as well. Remember, he got reverse grid pole in another series, and he dominated the field. Admittedly, in a wet race it was that time around, but he's very, very good around here as well, so expect him, if he does get reverse grid pole, to be really, really competitive and fight for at least a podium in that race as well. As sideways there, Sheldon Muscat, and running wide as Yangarak as well as a result of that. Probably given a bit of a fright as he saw the sideways Maltese driver there.
Well, we saw what happened in qualifying with, I think it was Butcher, wasn't it, we were on board with at the end of qualifying, and you could see how much the car spinning in front can put you off through that final 2 corners. Muscat, to be fair though, has managed to get straight back on it, and he's going to try and make a move down into turn 3, can't do it, so Branson going backwards unfortunately.
Yeah, I think his tyres are starting to give way, because it gets around this part of the race where the tyres start to wear off quite significantly, and you get loads of built up understeer as well. You've got 2 Epic guys trying to capitalise on this as Muscat locks up, gets a bit of a slider, there's contact there, and spinning into the gravel trap, Yangarak and Muscat there as well, and they're going to recover back onto the circuit, but losing a lot of time and places in the process. But Hallow's getting a couple of freebies there as a result.
It was a classic turn 4 incident at Spielberg, wasn't it, with just the door coming a bit close and you really can't get out of it when you get there. Vagapov though is really flying towards the end of this race. All of the back Lewis Pickers, how the tables have turned from Imola, it is the other way around the course in race 2. Let's see if Vagapov Valley can get past the stacks. Meanwhile, up front, by the way, Brewer now within a second of Tom Stevens for P2, as we stick with Vagapov around the outside of Bickers into turn 3. Bickers holds the position nicely down the inside, but now Vagapov will have fantastic slipstream effect down the hill into turn 4. Which way will Bickers go to defend? He stays on line actually. Now Vagapov will dive to the inside. No, he won't. Thinks better of it, but Bickers runs wide. Bickers runs wide, and that will give Vagapov all the invitation he needs. He's got the outside line into turn 6. Can he make it stick? Will Bickers keep his nose down there? Yeah, he will. Great defence from Lewis Bickers, but it allows Sven Helhoid to scamper away for P4.
So great battling between these two, and clean battling as well, is what we want. But it looks like Bickers for now has got the upper hand on that battle. Butcher, by the way, leads by over a second. 1.2 seconds now between Butcher and Stevens, because he's broken a toe now. He's got no sort of slipstream he's got to worry about given to Tom Stevens, and it's about a second gap between Stevens and Brewer as well at the front of the field. And then it's obviously Yelhode now getting a little bit of a gap and comfortable in that position for, as these two still scrapping away this time around, as we are now on the penultimate lap of this race. As Vakimov, I think, is going to be a bit too far back here. Bicker's still defending though, as he's going to launch it on the outside, trying to get the cut back for this straight. Bickers gets a tremendous drive out the corner though, and Vagapov's going to have to rely on slipstream, maybe positional error on Bickers' part to get past, but he's covering the right hand side of the track there very, very nicely. Vagapov trying to launch it on the outside. Bickers defending really well, and it looks like he's in a hold position for another lap.
Really good defending from the Stacks driver. He's still on the defensive down the inside again into turn 6, and Vagapov really couldn't have done too much more as Muscat and Manning go side by side further down the order. But yeah, really good defending from the Stacks. And here is Moritz Kroplik looking for a way past Toby Davis for P8. These two have been fighting for a while.
They have, but look at the speed that Leho has got in that car. He's obviously saved the tide or something. He's just got a really, really fast car underneath him, and he's now
This will be
attacking
special.
a nocturne. Oh, look at this. Yeah, that will be special if he goes around the outside there. No, Leho runs a little bit wide as this is now the last lap of the race. Oh, a spin!
Whoa!
Who was that?
Riboli.
That is Riboli making an error, and he's lost one position there to Bradley Sellers, who's
two.
now... Well, he's going to also... Yeah, because you think now Sellers is now in that reverse grip pole position as a result of that. All he has to do is keep going, and he's got pole. But here's Chris Butcher, and he's looking comfortable now, isn't he? Half a lap to go, and he's going to take his first win of his GPU career. Stevens there in second, Brewer in third. So as another swap position, is that Leho and Crop? I can see they're swapping positions for 8th and 9th. And yeah, Toby Davis there has lost a couple of places. He's gone down to 10th.
Oh, Crop's up the inside into T4 as well. Can he get that stuck? He can. They're all going to switch back on each other. Davis does well to miss them actually, as Leho goes back through with the drive down the hill.
Yes, he is indeed. Is this going to be... Is Crop gone sideways? We're not quite sure, but here our Chris Butcher comes across the line to win race number 1 here this evening at the Red Bull Ring. Stevens and Crop second and third. Look at these three.
Side by side.
And Leho's beaten them both. Leho's got ahead of both of these cars. I mean, a lap ago he was behind both of them. And he's going to hold the inside. Crop's attacking around the outside. They've given him room. And looks like Leho's going to do it. P8 it's going to be for the Frenchman. A tremendous job there from the back of the grid. He's got a very, very well sorted out car. Crop's not going to get that, I'm afraid. He's in P9. Toby Davis in 10th. And the rest of them come through there. Rigoza 11th. Sellers in 12th. Riboli's going to be 13th. Branson 14th. Alex Hallows in 15th place. Sam Filestra 16th. Muscat 17th. Liam Howard and Jurgen Jangarak are having a little scrap as well for 18th place. Howard is going to come out on top of that one. Mizuma rounds out the top 20 there, but an intense first race here with battles running down all the way up and down the field. But Butcher not getting pole position, but coming out on top of the race here, and a well-deserved victory there, because you know, I think Butcher actually rightly predicted you in the top 3, separating themselves from the rest of the field and having a tremendous scrap at the end for the win, because Brewer looked really quick.
Yeah, it was really intriguing actually to see they all pretty much matched each other, and we missed the move for the victory because they weren't actually that close at the time. All of a sudden, as soon as Butcher got through, they were all really similar on the lap times. By the way, looking at P12, Bradley Sellers, I'm sure Massimiliano Riboli will be getting a nice Christmas card, a glass of vino, and maybe a panettone for Christmas after that, because Bradley Sellers will be licking his lips at the fact that he's on pole.
The Sim Apex team as well will be delighted, I'm sure, by getting that as well. And alongside him on the grid will be Alexander Rigoza as well. As we're just looking through the results there as well. You see from 20th down, you've got Singleton, 21st, Chris Griswood, Dean Vella, Anastopoulos there, and Tyler Manning, and Tazano gets off, son of Alves and Clarence, or retiring from the race as well. We'll be back to catch our breaths, or whatever breath we can, in the next few minutes. Recharge, refresh, and we'll see you for warm-up for race 2 in a few minutes' time. We'll see you in a bit. Gerrit, I don't know what's happened to your screen. It's sort of zoomed in. Like you got the red border around the outside of it, and it's sort of minimised. Well, not minimised, but sort of... We've sort of zoomed out of it. So I was really struggling to see what was going on. I was like, who is that? But I'll tell you what, it was definitely 16 laps on that graphic. And Butcher said it was 16 laps. They've got the laps wrong.
It's because Imola was 16 laps.
Ah. I mean, I've got race view as well up, so I can sort of work off that. Nah, it's all right. We'll live with it. It's fine.
Oh,
Toby Davis wants an interview. Ain't getting it. Wait for interview 1. Now let me just wait for Toby. I'm just gonna see how he is. We're still muted, aren't we?
bye.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you've again had a nice break from the chaos and action and drama of race 1 here. I say just in the final minute of warm-up, ready for the second race. And I say the top 12 will be reversed this time around. That will mean that Leho will get reverse grid pole, which would be a great opportunity for him to kickstart his championship, Ewan, after a bit of a rough round 1. But
I think he'll be a bit lower. I think it's Sellers on pole.
You're quite right. It is Sellers on pole. You're quite right.
Because Leho kept fighting through, didn't he? He had a wonderful race 1.
He did. P8 it was in the end, so I've got numbers muddled up. But yeah, Sellers with the reverse grip. Where have I got that from? I'm like behind half an hour or something, you know. But yeah, Sellers
at one point.
He was, he was, and then he fought his way through magnificently as well. But yeah, Sellers will be on first grid pole, as you say, first time I believe for that team as well, for that Sim Apex RT. And I say he's just in the pits there, and I think they're just sorting the grid out now on the server, which means we shouldn't be too long before we get back on the way. I'm just looking at the lap times actually in practice. Stevens at top, Menno Clont in P2, Singleton P3, Leho P4, Liam Howard P5. That's quite interesting actually to see. If they can maintain that pace in the race, we can see a lot of position changes early on as well. But a great opportunity for some of the teams who had a bit of a rough start of the season in Imola to bag some points and get themselves up on the leaderboard in the championship as well.
It was a chaotic first race as well, David, so you've got plenty of people who are out of position, you feel, on the grid compared to their qualifying position. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare and try and pull themselves back up through the field, especially now there isn't a second race to worry about after this, so it's pretty much all guns are blazing, pushing to win.
Hey, well, whoever that flag man is, I'll give him a pay rise. He's really waving that flag to
he's mate. Going for it.
Yeah, that's it, mate. He's been on the Red Bull, I think, as well. But yeah, he's going for it as well as the session has finished at a nice time. So it's 8:45 UK time. It is, so still the evening, very young for some good action there. So we just see the Team Iris car going through the hairpin to turn 3. Look at all the undulation and the evolution of the track there as well. Down the hill and then the big climb up to 3 as well. It's when you're on board, you don't really feel it too much, but when you see it, particularly from the angle that Gerrit's got here, it's quite intense, isn't it?
Yeah, as you said earlier, you know, especially down into turn 6 as well. It's a completely blind apex. Even though it looks relatively flat, you can't see the apex. So yeah, there are plenty of challenges. It's not just point and squirt like you usually get with a long straight and a hairpin. There is plenty of danger and difficulty to be had around the Red Bull Ring.
Indeed it is. But now they're lining up on the grid, and as you say, Bradley Sellers on pole position. Here we'll go through the whole grid in a moment, Tune, of course. But the real weather, I'm not sure they're using the real weather here, but I looked at temperatures before tonight. The temperature in Red Bull Ring now, -8 degrees Celsius. So it's a bit chilly there. I'm not sure they're using those real temperatures in game, but if we was, I think it'd be more like ice racing rather than Formula 3.
Do plenty of weaving on the formation lap.
Absolutely,
to get the temp in the tyres.
Maybe some wheel spins as well.
Mind you, we say that. We've seen, you know, in real life F1 testing go to Barcelona, don't they, in February, so cold tyres aren't too out of the ordinary. But let's go through the grid for race 2 then. Bradley Sellers on pole. A bit of a gift, really, on the penultimate lap of race 1. Alexander Raguzzo, great race to get to 11th P2 for him. Toby Davis P3 alongside Moritz Kropp, who had a bit of an issue at the start of the race. Then Team Iris, after a difficult qualifying and Leho with a grid penalty, P5, P6 alongside Monier. Peter Vagapov, winner of race 2 last time out, P7 alongside Bickers, who almost pipped him at the line. Sven Geelhoyd's shown plenty of speed so far this season. He finished 4th. in race 1 starts 9th alongside Dan Brewer. And then the top 2 of race 1, Stevens and Butcher. Riboli then, who spun and lost P3 on the grid at the end of the last race. He's 13th alongside Guillaume Branton, who was in the wars. Alex Hallows 15, Stan Vlitstra at P16 had issues as well. Sheldon Muscat P17 alongside Liam Howard. In P18 we saw Jürgen Langerak go around at one point alongside Roman Mazunda, who was involved in the incident on lap 1, turn 1. Kenneth Singleton P21 alongside Chris Gristwood. Dean Vella then, the first of the people who retired alongside Nikos Anastastopoulos. Tyler Manning, Luca Tizzano, Chris Gitzoff, Yves Sonneveld, and then at the back on his own on row 15 is Menno Klont for Butler Pal Motorsport.
So he's doing a bit of a baptism of fire in this event so far. Last year as well, obviously taking the title, 5 podiums in 9 races. It was a Menno Klont. Never took a victory, but ended up with the championship as many of the title contenders was too busy watching each other's mirrors and taking each other out. He was just banking points at every round and every race and taking the title then. So it was a very intriguing championship, but the quality, I would say, has definitely improved from last season. I see the big grids now of 30 cars expected and 29 in this race. I say sadly Diego did not show up for this race either, so he must have some kind of terminal issue with his game or PC. I say they're lining up once again. I say just the final few cars now lining up in their grid positions, but Bradley Sellers, what a moment this is going to be in his GPU career, lining up in pole position, and interesting where he ends up, but the lights are on and away they go again as can't quite see what's going on. It's a great start there for Toby Davis, making it 3 wide almost, but Sellers has got a clean getaway. Ragotza and Toby Davis there side by side. Toby gets the position there, runs wide on the exit though, but it looks a much cleaner start than last time. We're in the year 1 car running wide on the exit there, but Sellers leading away. Davis is getting the slipstream now going into turn 3. Look at this, really closing well. Sellers defending nicely. I see madness behind, absolute madness behind. It's going to be any contact. There's 3 wide there, all banging wheels together, but they somehow will manage to get through quite nicely. A bit of dust and a bit of grass being kicked up there as well, but Toby Davis on the attack into turn 4, and he dives down the inside and he takes the lead of race 2 here for THL. Sellers now trying to hold it around the outside, getting the overlap into turn number 5 and 6. Oh, and Davis squeezes him out there, but nice defence, and now getting the gap there. But watch out for Ragotza as well. Ragotza and Krop, they're closing in. Laho and Munier's got away cleanly and clearly as well. As we're going to end the first lap. One more time, I'm going to say, yeah, 14 lap race here again. It was a mistake by the admins last time around, but yeah, 2 14 lap races here this evening. Everyone's got away cleanly this time, Ewan, and it looks like very exciting stuff here once again as Krop looks like he's going to try and line up the Polish driver on the exit of turn 1.
Yeah, and crucially I think in this race, when you looked at the grid and the reverse grid, probably Davis and Krop were the danger men for Ragotza and Sellers, and the fact that Davis has got Sellers and Ragotza in between himself and Krop could be crucial in determining who wins this race. Then again, Leo is right in there as well. He's actually goes spinning. Leo goes. There's Leo. All of the good work in race 1 undone at turn 3.
And he's got to wait for the whole field to go through. Look at P27. As it looks like Tizzano and Gitzoff had another disaster and a very dodgy rejoin, but it looks like there in front of Tizzano. But it looks like one incident at the back. Not sure if it's related, but Tizzano and Gitzoff at the back of the field there with Dean Feller there in 26th position. Ragotza though still under pressure here from the young German teenager Moritz Krop right behind in P4 there as well, but going to be very, very interesting. Sellers doing a good job early on of holding up Ragotza and Krop there. Obviously Munier P5, Vagapov P6, I'll say winner from the last time out in Imola. Brewer, Bicker, Stevens, Riboli, Butcher's dropped down. Actually, no, he hasn't dropped down a position at all. Stevens has moved up from, getting confused there already, being P12 reverse. Gerrit, Branton, Valestra and Langerak there rounding at the top 15. As we're now on lap 3 already in this race. This is going to be a fast and furious race, I feel.
Yeah, so looking at it, Halehood's lost a bit of time, but Riboli's made up plenty of places as Regatta goes to the inside of Sellers with the slipstream inside at turn 3. That should be absolutely easy for him, perfectly alongside, and now we can go after Toby Davis. So Regatta, really nice move back into P2, Sellers down to P3.
Now looking to do the same thing on Sellers probably next time around now, because Sellers is still nice and close up to the Polish driver's gearbox there in the Gallery 82 car. But further back there we've got Butcher and Riboli there side by side, and further ahead as well we've got Bickers and Stevens fighting it out for P8 ahead. Butcher goes past the Italian into turn 5. And looks like they're closing up to the back of Tom Stevens as well. Through gets a lovely exit out of there. Does Butcher, closing up to the back of his THR/Nocturne compatriot there. Tom Stevens as well as we go round the final corner once again. Here's that lap number 4. But very nicely, everyone's sort of compact, which is great. It's only up from sort of like the front to P14. There's a bit of a gap there with Alex Hallows 3 seconds off the back of the pack. There, so the grid sort of split into 2. And then over here comes Mark's crop there. It looks like Sellers is maybe lacking a bit of straight line speed.
Yeah, possibly, because he was done pretty easily by Regatta, and now Krop goes through as well. We saw Krop couldn't get past Regatta at the start of the race, so Sellers maybe, yeah, as you said, struggling for straight line speed, but what he hasn't done yet is make a mistake in either of the 2 races so far, so no, should be able to hang on for some points by the end of this race. Next up behind will be Mounier, who's around 7/10 down on him.
So say Vagapov and Brewer fighting out there for 6, and he got another car there as well as that. Tom Stevens trying to fight it out there, trying to get past the Russian. Look at that, holding it around the outside. Tom Stevens on Vagapov. That's a brilliant move there. Nice and wide on the exit on the curbing, but getting the move done there on the Russian driver. And now Stevens now trying to do the same on Dan Brewer. That's going to be a tough order. You know, Brewer's very, very hard racer, fair racer, and tough to pass as well. Very, very skilled driver there. But here's Bickers now, Brewer's teammate in Stax Racing. He's got Vagapov ahead, he's got Butcher behind, Riboli's on the tail of this battle as well, and Bickers trying to line up now. Vagapov into turn 1, is he going to make the move? Snake, he's thinking about it for sure. Oh, Vagapov running wide, Bickers getting a nice little slide of oversteer, and Butcher takes position as a result. Great bit of opportunism and positioning there from Butcher.
Yeah, really well held in the end by Bickers, but couldn't hold on to the position with the amount of time lost. Riboli now trying to look around the outside of the stacks, and there's even further back Langerack going past Muscat as well. Plenty of action going on, and still at the front though is Davis with a nice buffer to Regatta.
So gaps there, a second there between
Brewer past Stevens.
Yes, Brewer passing Stevens there, or holding on to Stevens. Actually, as well, it was wide. There goes Butcher, they push onto the grass there. And Vagapov holds position as well, and closing up now Lewis Bickers as well. This could be a very, very intense midfield battle, I feel. I'd like to Davis, Regatta and Cropper can see that maybe even Sellers might be able to pull away from the field as Brewer and co are going to be fighting away here for the next few laps.
I think as much as it's about making a move, it's when do you make the move, because you can make a move at say the final corner into turn 1, but then you're leaving yourself disadvantaged up the 2 straights into turn 3 into turn 4, so it's patience as much as talent, really. Do you know what I mean? It's as goes wide the valley, I think it was, a Vagapov Butcher following, and Butcher's got a fantastic run because of that. Vagapov will defend sort of down the middle. Butcher's got the inside. Surely will get this done for P8.
For Bickers as well, so he's still going to be fighting throughout the corner. Bickers, there he goes, look at that, taking the opportunity, getting the move done on Vagapov straight away. And is he going to challenge Butcher? Looks like Butcher's covering the inside there as they go into turn 4. We're on board with Vagapov And Butcher looking like he's going to cover the line. Bicker's trying to hold it around the outside, but no, Butcher gets the drive out of the corner. But Bicker's making a position there. It's a 9th position. And look at Raboli there as well. It looks like he's having a fight there with Gerrit of Mazumda Motorsports. And they're still side by side. Look at this, actually. This is tremendous. Bit of contact there, banging wheels. Looks like Raboli's going to hold on for that. Is that Branson? Look at this. It's non-stop action here in the first half of this race. Branson's going to get the position, isn't he? Up into 12th position. And there it is. Sign still delivered there.
Look how close Leicester is as well.
It's not poor Gerrit there. He's done nothing really wrong. And yet he's gone down one positions. But look at the front. Krop has passed Ragosa. And the gap between Krop and Davis now 0.6 of a second there. So these three fighting on. Sellers still sort of keeping up with the battle. Yes, they still got that gap there, but these three are going to go at it now for the near future of this race.
Yeah, Moynier's not catching up to Sellers at all at the moment, is he? But yeah, Krop looks good. Krop might make a move actually into turn 4 here. Has he got enough on the brakes? No, he hasn't. Not this time round. I can't believe Halehoy managed to keep it all in a straight line with the wheel-to-wheel contact through turns 7 and 8 though. I mean, really lucky to get away with it. And still in with a fighting chance of a top 10 finish. He's all in that massive gaggle of cars. All the way down pretty much behind Butcher, isn't it? Butcher, Bickers, Vagabond, Raboli, Branton, Halehoyd and Vrijs all within, all have an interval of less than a second between each other.
They do, and I've noticed Stevens has passed Brewer at some point, the last lap or two. He's now up to 6th position. Brewer still keeping touch with the Nocturne driver as well, 0.6 away. But halfway through this race now, lap number 7, and it looks like Krop is going past Toby Davis into turn 1. Move is done. Is Toby going to come back at him? No, up this straight here. They're going to work out something here. Is Toby going to line up a move into the hairpin? No, he is not. He might be able to. Oh, contact! Ragota's hit the back of Davis, I think. There, as they're both driving up towards the circuit. Disaster there. I'd like to see a replay if we can on that, but I'm pretty sure Ragota
just got the braking wrong.
Yeah, he got the braking wrong there, I feel.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's so easy when you've got two cars sort of battling together, especially in such close proximity. It's so easy to just take your eye off the ball, isn't it? Under braking, and you know, a 10-meter miss on the braking zone can cause an accident like that. And unfortunately, it's taken Toby Davis through no fault of his own down to P14.
14th place out of the points, and it was such a strong showing as well there from Toby Davis. But he's now back in the pack. Moritz Krop, though, 4 seconds out in front, ahead of Bradley Sellers. You probably think, oh, Christmas has come a few days early, possibly.
Well, he had Raboli in race 1 spin to get him up there as well, so he is absolutely loving life at the moment, Bradley Sellers.
Yeah, look at that. We've got Meunier in 3rd position, Stevens in 4th, Brewer in 5th, Ragotza rejoined in 6th position ahead of Chris Butcher and Lewis Vickers. Vagapov 10th. 9th. Raboli running at the top 10. And someone's dropping down the order. Toby Davis has retired from the race. Maybe he got damage at the rear suspension, which destroyed the handling of the car. And he is now out of the race. Really unfortunate there for him. But we hope to see him back later on in the season, because he showed some really good promise and potential there as well. But Chris Butcher now on board with his THR teammate for this evening. He's now looking to get past the culprit there, Ragotza there, up into 6th position there.
Yeah, good move from Chris Butcher there, up into 6th, but Tom Stevens is absolutely flying and all over the back of Meunier for P3. Stevens just miles faster than anyone at the moment. 122.6 is his fastest lap. Compare that to Meunier's fastest lap of a 123.3, and that shows you the difference as he looks to the outside of turn 9. That'll be pretty special. Now on the switchback, he might get it down into final corner actually. That's a fantastic move from Tom Stevens. Meunier fights back though. Bit of contact of fancy on the exit of the corner, and that's going to allow Brewer a nice little move through, and they're going to draft up. Besides, they're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. No, actually,
Banging
Meunier
wheels.
quite clever. Meunier really clever to just box Brewer in behind the Nocturne there. Really, really clever defence from the Team Irish driver. And he stays in fourth at the moment and now gets his chance in the slipstream back up to T3.
And that straight line speed was talk about in the Team Iris have got here today. Maybe looking to regain that position. Look at side by side. All is momentum on the curb. But look at
Butcher.
Look at Butcher as well. Look at this. 4 cars in a line here. As they pulled away from Rigoza actually as well. But the Team Iris car looking at it back alongside Tom Stevens here. As Meunier looking to hold on really valiantly here. And has he got the overlap on Stevens ahead, I wonder? Let's find out. It looks like he's backed off a little bit. Brewer looking like he's going to go on the inside. Stevens holding on to the position. There we go. So he's got that third position ahead of the Frenchman. As Butcher now looking to get the run. Look at that. Bicker's goes slightly wide. Brewer's going slightly wide. As Butcher's now got the front wheel alongside Brewer's left rear wheel there. But Brewer holds position. Runs slightly wide, but holds well there. He's got that P5 ahead of Butcher. And then we've got Rigoza, Bickers, Vagapov, and again still Riboli holding up top 10. But Moritz Krop, through some fortune, admittedly, 4.5 seconds up the road. This is going to be, for European Formula 3 standards, this is going to be pretty comfortable gap he's got.
Oh, he's gone 4 laps early with the commentator's curse. We love that. But by the way, these 4 all line is now 3 of them as Stevens pulls away a little bit. Fantastic racing so far. A little bit of contact. That's alright though, wheel to wheel, as Meunier runs wide and Brewer goes into P4. Butcher now trying to find his way, but really fantastic racing from all 4 of them on the previous lap, and they're still going at it. Look, Meunier trying to use all of that straight line speed down into turn 4, couldn't get it done. On the switchback though, might fancy his chances down into turn 5 and then into the left-hander at turn 6. Butcher, strangely enough, can't actually keep up down the straights.
For a moment there of understeer on the entry of the turn 4, and that lost him a couple of tenths of a second there. So they're now just holding position, holding station there, as we're just about to start lap number 12 of this second race. The evening's racing nearly done here, but look at Riboli. Have you ever noticed Riboli always seems to be leading a train of cars? Or is it just me? There's always like one driver in the series that seems to be heading a train of cars, and in this series it seems to be Riboli. No disrespect at all or anything, but it's just something I've noticed.
Yeah, what he hasn't done though is been overtaken by a swarm of cars. Yeah. He gave up the positions in the last race with the spin on the penultimate lap, but he hasn't actually lost many positions in wheel-to-wheel combat, and he didn't in Imola either. So as that's Butcher past Meunier, by the way, as Meunier fights back as Butcher goes deep, and that will be side by side all the way down straight. Meunier will get the slipstream from Brewer in front as well, so that should help him with the inside line down into turn 4. How much more speed can Butcher take through as Bickers looks to the inside of Rigoza as well. Butcher now trying to the underlap, and he can't get it done. I think Rigoza managed to stay ahead of Bickers in the second stacks as well. Vagapov lurking in P9.
Really impressive racing here to see. I just also Lehoe had passed Langerak, and Langerak got him back in P20, but back up near front of the field now. Tom Stevens has closed up the gap to Bradley Sellers here, and Sellers done a fantastic job here to hold on to this second position. It looks like he's going to get a podium of some kind here. Will it be P2 or will it be P3? Moritz Krop 6.5 seconds up the road, as Stevens there trying to fake a dummy there, trying to get into Bradley Sellers' wing mirrors there. So gets the exit on the straight there, but here, this is where Sellers seems to be quite weak in the race.
Let him go. I'd let him go, David. Stevens is so much faster. Let him go, pick the slipstream up, keep your third place, get your podium, consolidate it, because you've got about a second back to Dan Brewer. Just be clever, you've got a lap and a half left, there you go. Not too much fighting, and now he can just pick the slipstream up and help himself down the straight. The thing is, if we get to turn 4 in a lap's time, and Brewer isn't alongside, then he won't have a chance. So, take your third place. Stevens is so fast in that Nocturne. The Nocturnes are by far the fastest on the circuit. That's Bickers past Rigoza.
scrapping away still all race long. You know, Bickers has got past Rogotza, as you mentioned, Vagapov in ninth, but Brewer is now looking to pick up this podium if he can. Tag on to the back of these two, and maybe look up position as we approach the final lap here. Cropper's long gone. He's got a post-coast distance ahead. 7 seconds it is. In this race, we've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, somewhere on the circuit. I think it's
Tizano.
the back of the field. Yeah, Tizano. He's retired from this race, as well as a couple of others. There we are. Dean Vella and Mazumda have also retired, as well as Menoclont. Again, a disaster for Menoclont here this evening. So he approaches his final lap. And it looks like Dan Brewer's a bit too far back. There, Ragotza there in P9. As you say, Vagapov there has made position here, but looks like Ragotza's coming back straight away. Oh, look at the defence there on the grass. That's quite over the top there, I'd say, from Vagapov.
Yeah, that was tight as Halehoy goes into the top 10 as well past Vries. No, he doesn't. Raboli actually holds on. So Raboli holds on to P10, but Brewer couldn't get Sellers. Sellers is looking at Stevens and goes a little bit deep as he costs himself a podium. Oh, with the lockup, Brewer now tucked in behind, trying to make a move into turn 6. It's going to come down to the final corner. As we saw Stevens do the flip-flap earlier, will Brewer be able to do that for a podium?
Going to find out. I'll say it looks like it's going to be holding station here in the last couple of corners, but at the front of the field, Moritz Kropp is just about to come around the final corner, and he's going to take his first victory in Nocturne colours here this evening. Moritz Kropp takes the win. It's going to be a Nocturne 1-2 with Stevens in second. Bradley Sellers is going to take a fantastic P3 there. Brilliant drive, taking his opportunity of first grid pole brilliantly. Dan Brewer fourth, Butcher, Rail Race 1 winning P5, Meunier 6th, Bickers second, Vagapov 8th. We've just seen there Raboli just holding on to 10th position as there's unnecessary contact there between those two after the line, between himself and Gerrit. That may be looked at by the stewards potentially. Ragotza, I didn't mention, was P9. Balestra, Branton, Sonneveld, Hallows again in 15th, Muscat 16th, Risswood 17th, Singleton 18th, Manning in 19th, and Lehoux, after his unfortunate incident and spin, rounds out the top 20. But Nocturne, again, they're taking the victory here. They're second of the season. You know, both drivers getting the win now, of course, after Stevens in Imola and Kropp here in Austria.
Absolutely. They're the class of the field at the moment, the Nocturnes. But special mention to Sellers P3. Fantastic drive, you know. Brewer even around him, so Brewer, Stevens, Kropp, I mean, the best part of half a second a lap faster all evening long, and yet Sellers was able to hold on there for the podium, showing some really nice pace whilst he was at it.
Indeed, as well. And I've just mentioned, I've met Moritz's parents recently, as well as a few of us have, and they're lovely parents. They're really, really good people, and I know they watch the broadcast as well that Moritz takes part in. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you've enjoyed the broadcast as well as the other viewers, of course, as Moritz now are doing some donuts with Tom Stevens on the circuit.
Oh, that's the wall.
Now, there are no Krispy Kremes by any stretch, and I know they haven't got much filling in them, but they're lovely donuts nevertheless. I'm certainly not going to be complaining about them as well. But a brilliant evening's racing. Nocturne, I'm pretty sure, after tonight's results, will extend their lead in the championship in the teams. Stacks, I think, as well, will be very close to THR because of Toby Davis's retirement as well. But we'll find out. This will be mentioned in the Discord, and obviously after tonight's event we'll know what the results are. If you keep an eye on this GPU's Twitter and other social media, you'll know exactly what the standings and results will be after tonight's race. But there we are, the two Nocturnes 1-2. Simapex getting their first points as well in GPU, third position there for Bradley Sellers. Brilliant job from him. I hope we get to see him in the interview as well. Dan Brewer, P4, Butcher in P5, Meunier 6. He's had a great evening's racing and results. Lewis Bickers in 7th, Vagapov in 8th, not been able to recreate his race 2 wonders of Imola. Ragotza in 9th, Raboli rounding out the top 10. Some hard-earned points there for him. There we are, Gerrit and Valestra just missing out. Branson 13th, Gisonov 14th, Alex Hallows 15th, Sheldon Muscat 16th, Griswood, Singleton, Manning, and Leho. They're rounding up the top 20. It's been a very, very intense evening, and there's the unfortunate results there for Yangarak Gitsov Howard, who's had a poor evening compared to his Imola results. Anastopoulos 24th, and then Tizano, Clont, Azumna, Vela, and Davis all retiring from the race here in Austria. Well, I don't know about you, Ewan. I'm out of breath after that. That has been brilliant racing, a great evening's action, and after being away from the comms box for quite a long time, just generally, that was a great way to come back.
Yeah, it was for the most part some fantastic racing. A lot of the time, 3 or 4 wide as well. Gaggles of cars all the way up and down the grid, and some really good examples of how to get moves done around this circuit. I think I mentioned that plenty of people trying to go around the outside at turn 9 and into turn 10. A few people managing to get the swap on, but I'm gonna bring some people in to speak to. We'll start with race 2 winner, Moritz Kropp. Moritz, congratulations on race 2 victory. Just tell us about your night. Start with race 1 and all the speed that you Nocturne boys seem to have.
Well, obviously the evening started with race 1 not going too well for me, and for Toby, obviously, who got just completely ran into the wall. Not quite sure what happened there. We need to look over it. I'm not too sure if it was my fault or not. From then on it was just, try to recover with a damaged car and try to do the best we can. And obviously in race 2, with the reverse grid, we had a good shot on the victory. Yeah, we managed to do that quite well. Actually, I'm quite surprised that Tom got off to second, which is honestly surprising. And I didn't expect that.
And then race 2, you looked like you couldn't get past Sellers and Rigotta at the start. We saw Toby go straight through, and it must have worried you a little bit that you had those 2 cars between you, and then all of a sudden you got through one, you got through the other, and actually taking the lead looked pretty easy.
Yeah. I was a bit careful in the opening laps because I saw what happened on the previous race, and like I said, I was just a bit more careful than Toby. I mean, Toby was just a reserve driver, but he did a great job as well. And I was just a bit careful, and obviously I thought about that as well. But at some point you start to get your confidence back and start attacking, which happened in this race.
David, anything to add?
No, just a fantastic result there, Moritz, for you. Congrats on your first victory, not only in GPU, for Nocturne as well. A much needed boost, I'd say, after the race 1 as well. What happened in race 1 actually up to turn 1? I see P3 on the grid, and I saw you sideways going into turn 1 in race 1 there. What was the result of that? Obviously you went down a few positions, but was that contact at all, or was it just a sideways moment or anything like that?
I think it was contact. Like, I felt a hit as soon as we started braking. I felt a hit in my rear, and I saw that someone punted me, and I lost a bit of control, and obviously got caught up in all the carnage then behind me, which I didn't want. And then in the hairpin, it just got all a bit messy, and we all spun around and stuff like that, which I can't do anything about it. And but also thanks to the team for helping me with his setup again and helping me with practice. Without them, I wouldn't have won. So thank you very much.
That's right, Moritz. But we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time at Catalonia. I hope this is the boost that you wanted to kickstart your championship. But well done for tonight, man. Enjoy your victory.
Thank you very much.
I think
David, I'm going to let you have a chat with race 1 winner, Chris Butcher.
Yeah, Chris Butcher now joining us in the commentary booth here, and say after a very, very hard-earned race 1 victory and race 2 result there as well. Chris, brilliant evening's racing from yourself. You know, it was hard racing at times, but fair racing, of course, as well, and getting your first GPU victory as well here with THR tonight. A pretty successful evening, if I can get my words out.
Yeah, not too bad. Through testing over the last couple of days, I thought it might not happen. To be honest with you, I thought I was just going to watch the 2 Nocturnes run into the distance again, but yeah, turned it around. Managed to keep it out of trouble in the first race, and then yeah, fighting really hard in the second race. To be honest, I think we probably had the pace to be right up. With the leaders, but I just sort of caught traffic at the wrong point. But it was nice to enjoy some good clean battles. You know, like you said, really really hard racing, but it was all fair and yeah, pretty chuffed with it, to be honest.
And I'll say, you know, you and Brewer was tied on points going into this round. I think you'll have the edge on him now, maybe getting closer to Tom Stevens in the championship as well. First couple of rounds of the championship, obviously we're third of the way through. You must be pretty happy with your work so far.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was slightly dejected from Imola because I messed up qualifying, to be honest with you. So yeah, I feel like I should have been a little bit higher up, but yeah, it's not been a bad start. Obviously we not got involved in any incidents, and scored some decent points. So I think it's probably P2 in the championship, and yeah, it's good to see the THR family as such. Putting on a good show. I'm just gonna keep chipping away at Tom's lead now, and hopefully I can take it towards him at the end of the season.
Well, so you got Catalonia next, so a good racetrack and a good venue to obviously do some good racing there as well, and fight with Tom Stevens and the others for race victories and podiums as well. So we'll see you there, obviously. Ewan, have you got anything to add?
No, just congratulations. Obviously, as you said, great hard racing and plenty of speed as well. So good to see you back up top, Chris.
Thanks very much, guys.
That's all right. You have a great evening, Chris, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time in Spain.
Let's bring the championship leader in to have a chat, because Tom Stevens wasn't quite as relaxed as him, was it?
No, that was very tense.
Talk us through race 1 then. You got off the line nicely and you had the lead, and then all of a sudden you had a Chris Butcher coming past you and into the lead. Was that just a case of having to settle for second, or was it just not taking any unnecessary risks at that stage?
Yeah, well, I saw Chris was right up behind me, and then Brewer was he had a little bit of a gap away, but I knew if we thought we were going to close, so I didn't really want to fight him, so I just let him go, and then we just stayed an equal gap pretty much for the entire race. So yeah, that's how it went.
And looking in the middle of race 2 as well, I think there was one stage you and Chris were both involved in a battle of 4 cars. How nerve-wracking, I guess, is it when you've got cars either side of you, when you're going that fast and your braking zone's halfway around the corner?
Well, you've just got to have faith in the other cars around you and try and make the right judgment, I guess. But luckily, everything seemed to go okay today, and we got good results out of it.
So, 2 similar tracks, but very different as well, and 2 strong results. You got Barcelona next. What do you think you can expect in Barcelona? Is that somewhere you expect to carry on the form?
That's the plan, but I haven't really done Barcelona before, so we'll see how it goes. But hopefully we can continue this form. And I'd like to say a big thanks to everybody at THR. It's a fantastic job for this round, and yeah.
David, anything to add?
Adding on to that, actually, I was going to say, obviously, you've been part of different teams since joining our Factor 2. You're part of Nocturne /THR now. you seem to be settling in really well with the team and the environment there as well. Obviously, leading this championship. Obviously, early stages in your, career, shall we say, as well. Now, factor two, you seem to be building more and more confidence. How are you sort of feeling about, say, your progression over the last, say, 6 to 12 months?
Well, yeah, a lot has happened in the last 6 to 12 months, and I feel being with THR is the perfect place to be, and it just makes me push to the limit and push way more than I thought I could even go, and it's it's showing right now, and I'm just really happy to be a part of THR.
We'll look forward to the rest of the season. Obviously, you'll be taking the championship lead with you into Catalonia in 2 weeks' time, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you there as well. But well done for tonight. Well, obviously we'll speak soon anyway. But you take care, Tom. We'll see you back on track in a couple of weeks.
Okay, thanks, guys.
No worries at all. Say one more person I want to talk to this evening is the really unfortunate, in some ways, but obviously still had a good evening from a team's point of view, is Toby Davis here as well. Let me just bring him in to the booth here as well. Toby, it's a case of what might have been for yourself, because you showed great pace, great performance, particularly in race 2 there. We're a bit from the camera angle we had. We think Regoats sort of hit the back of you in race 2 there. Obviously, talk us through that aspect, obviously, in a second. But yourself, you've done some practice in the coming days, but you look really, really good out there.
Thanks. Hi, David. Yeah, it was interesting. Luke obviously couldn't do the race, COVID related. Luke actually has got COVID, but is feeling okay. So we wish him all the best. But it meant he couldn't be in the same house where his equipment was. So the sort of the practice I'd done was more setup work than actual functional practice. So I had to sort of compress it all into an hour this evening. So yeah, I hadn't run on old tyres until an hour before the race. So yeah, glad to be at least somewhat close to the pace. And I think if I hadn't had major damage in race 1, I would have had a better showing in race 1 too. I know there was a bit of an incident on on lap 1. I don't think there was too much anyone could really do. It also went 4, almost 5 wide down the straight. It was just one of those where that just doesn't work. But yeah, race 2, I was much closer to the pace, as you say.
Yeah, it was great to see as well. Putting yourself there, and it looked like for a while at least you was challenging for the victory, at least get a podium out of that as well. So yeah, well done in that aspect. Showing you've got that. Taking the rustiness off from years gone by, not racing competitively as such. But obviously, from a management perspective, you must be proud as punch with the guys. THR and Nocturne. Obviously, 1-2 in the team's championship. Obviously, got a big challenge from Stacks as well, and a couple of others. But things are looking pretty rosy for you regarding the team.
Well, yeah. Obviously, I think it's pretty obvious that Nocturne is related to THR. We're all sort of under the THR umbrella. I'm a bit disappointed I couldn't add to the THR total too much today, but very proud of particularly Moritz for race 2 showing determination to stay focused, and because it's easy when you get hit in race 1 to lose focus, but in race 2 he was good. So yeah, very good for him to win that race. And of course, Tom's a superstar. I think we've got a pair of really good young lads there who are driving for Nocturne. I think they'll smash this championship, and it's great to have them on board. And I know myself and Chris are both very impressed with their work so far. So both Tom, Moritz, they're stars for the future. And of course, Chris knows what he's doing by now. It's funny, me and Chris are 30 years old, and Tom and Moritz are sort of teenagers, so it's totally different, but it's good fun.
Yeah, I say it's looking really promising for like the THR umbrella and operation there as well. But Ewan, I say you've been watching the races last couple of rounds. Do you have anything you want to add or ask Toby about the season so far?
Yeah, just how just for people who are watching, how much effort does go in behind the scenes, because to have that many have that much success across the four cars, obviously something must be happening.
Yeah. Well, we have myself and a few others in the management team, including Tom Ely, who's a setup guru, and Dave helps out as well. We've got a few members who are really sort of focused on getting the prep right, and scheduling practice, making it fun, making it enjoyable, the experience, and making people sort of build setup work and all have a say. And obviously we're running 4 cars. It helps when you've got that much data as well. But for everyone behind the scenes, it's all about just developing the setups and mostly just practicing stuff. Racing lines, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. But the answer is a lot of work, Ewan, and it's fun. We all enjoy doing it, but yeah, as long as you schedule it properly, it's not a chore. And I have to be a bit careful. I've got a 1-year-old child. I can't be up here all the time. My missus would kill me. So.
Oh no, it's great, and it's when we see, it's not just your teams, it's all the teams in the league, and when we see success, like we saw Sellers David, didn't we, today on the podium? It's great to see the success come to people who put all the hard work in, and obviously you're just one of those operations.
Yeah, I mean, I personally am not the fastest driver in the world, but I do genuinely believe that with enough practice, you can bring yourself up to other people's level. So, for people who have that feeling, they feel that not quite so quick. If you put the extra laps in, put the hard graft in, try things in the setup, and if it doesn't work, go back. You will eventually get to the front of the grid, and that's always been my ethos. And then you start attracting fast drivers, and it just builds from there. So it's an easy game, but it's hard work initially, and it's hard work, continuously hard work. But it becomes easier if you put the graft in, and it just becomes fun rather than work eventually. So yeah, having a great time. And THR is a pet project of mine and Chris's. Originally, it was 10 years old now this year. So yeah, it's good fun. But yeah, thanks, Ewan. Appreciate it. Nice one,
thank you. There's hope for us yet, David, in our sim racing careers. We're just going to work hard. That's all.
Okay. Don't get my hopes up. But yeah, many thanks as well, Toby. And I'll say I wish you and the team every success, and hopefully we might even see you on the grid later this year.
Yeah,
twist your arm a little bit.
We'll see. Nice one, guys.
That's right. You take care, Toby. But thanks for everyone tonight with the interviews as well. Ewan, I know it's been a long time, mate. It's a pleasure to see you here in the comms box once again, and many thanks for doing this as well, and obviously from the previous week as well. And of course, Gerrit de Vries as well on the cameras. Obviously, we have got Dan Hutt and Marco Fulic as race stewards as well. We've got Sadler, the computers, and 3D Rap as well for help back the series as well. But we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time as well at Catalonia for more Formula 3 action. I've been David Carter, obviously Ewan. Thank you for being here as well.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year as well to everyone who is watching this evening. We will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great Christmas, New Year. Don't get too drunk. Or if you want to, feel free. You take